Most people know about martial art forms like karate, kung fu and taekwondo, but there's a very, very ancient martial art form that originated in the south of India. This is Kalari, and I am at Kochi to understand more about it by talking to the Kalari Payattu artists. So you're one of those people who's been promoting this ancient art form, Kalari, right?
Yes.
Tell me about the history of this art form.
Kalari means the school.
Yeah.
Pait means fighting.
Yeah.
So full form of a Kalari Pait, school of fighting.
Uh-huh.
The martial art originally more than 5,000 years history.
Okay.
Our Indian epics like Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Purana, all telling about this kind of martial art. Around 500 years ago, each village of Maharajas of Kerala, they have army to teach this kind of martial art.
I see.
Since 7 years, boys and girls must to learning this kind of martial art, body fitness, shell protection and country protection.
Yeah.
That is the reason this martial art coming very famous in Kerala.
Is there a differentiation between style?
Yeah, north style and south style.
Yeah.
They have north style as more flexibility.
Okay.
They give the more flexibility.
Sure.
The south side more the fighting things, you know.
There is also something called the Marmakalai.
The marma point is 108 marma point in our body.
Okay.
3 are in here, 2 is in eyes contact, 2 are in here, and 25 very dangerous pressure point this part, and behind the body also.
Okay.
So this marma point also they never teach the beginning time.
Yeah.
It's the last moment. So
Yeah.
that is ear to ear.
These are more like acupressure points, is it? That is there.
Yeah.
So what all can happen if you use that?
Some traditional people saying if you're using some marma point, you cannot.
It gets paralyzed on
Paralyzed.
one side. Okay. I've been watching what you guys have been doing, and it's incredible, the kind of flexibility that you have. Now, whatever exercises that you were doing, this is a regular thing or was it more like a warm-up?
It's a regular thing.
Will you be able to teach some of your basic moves that you have in Kalari Payattu?
Sure.
Yeah.
The first one we start beginning.
Okay.
We start the salutation.
Yeah.
Kalari salutation.
Uh-huh.
The calling the putra. Then close.
Look straight.
Yeah. Then take them back.
So when you end, you come back to this, is it? This is how you end. This is just what they do as an invocation. I'm amazed at your flexibility. I wish I can do like 10% or 5% of what you just did. How is your dietary pattern? Do you have like any strict diet that you follow, or do you eat anything? What
You
is
can
your
eat
daily?
anything.
Huh?
We can eat anything.
Anything is fine? Okay. There is no
Yeah,
dietary
no
restriction.
diet.
You also have a record, right?
Yeah.
For the sword.
Yeah. Long sword.
Tell me about it.
This calling Urumi.
Urumi?
The Kalari Payattu most dangerous weapon.
Okay.
The long flexible sword.
Yeah.
I created 37 seconds.
Okay.
Highest strokes
Uh-huh.
in 230 strokes.
230 strokes in 37 seconds.
Yeah.
Wow. That is incredible. Will you be able to show it to me?
Yeah, sure.
How long did it take for you to train this?
I think for 7 years.
7 years. Wishing you all the best, and may you take this art form across the globe. Thank you. Thank you.
Kalari Payattu, though one of the deadliest fighting systems in the world, it's also the most principled, as its teachings were strictly intended for self-defense and healing. Today, the practice of Kalari Payattu has become more about how to harness one's body and mind powers to craft an ideal self and how to prepare for mortal combat. The Sri Krishna temple, located in Ambalapura in Alapi district of Kerala, is believed to have been built during the 17th century AD. Built in typical Kerala architectural style, the temple is dedicated to Lord Krishna.
There's an interesting ritual that happens here in Kerala temples. It's called the Tulabharam, where there's a huge beam balance, what you see there, and there is a prayer that is offered to the weight of someone, maybe to the baby or the mother and baby in her case, that they would offer whatever it is. In this case, it was sugar. Normally it's sugar, jaggery, coconut, sometimes silver, rice, whatever it could be. Based on the local produce, these are things that evolved over a period of time. And again, this was more a prayer that was offered to the Lord in terms of contribution. So they would make prasadams out of this in some way or the other. You'll find a lot of these red shiny beads in Kerala temples, especially in the Krishna temples, which will be in Urlis. Lots of the people will keep going, praying there and putting these beads there. I never knew the logic behind it, but today I struck up a conversation with a local here, and he told me the story. These are called Manjadi Kurus. Kuru in Malayalam means seeds. So legend has it that there was an old lady who was a peasant who could afford only these to Lord Krishna in Guruvayur, and she collected all of this, made a trip there, and as she entered the temple, the king was also there on that particular day to make his offering, and she was pushed and all these beads also fell down. And suddenly there was a voice from above, Akashvani, that said, "Where is my devotee that had collected these seeds for the longest time? Where is she? Find her." And then people went searching for her and she was offered a darshan right in front. So since then, these Manjadi Kuru seeds have been offered as prasadams.
To know more about the temple and its past, I'm going to meet someone who has been part in keeping the history of this temple alive and knows all about the Ambalapura Sri Krishna temple came into being.
Ambalapura Sri Krishna Swami temple, devoted to Lord Sri Krishna, constructed during 1614. That is
1614.
That is 405 years ago.
Yeah.
One day, Villamangalam Swamiyar and the Champakasheri Raja traveled in a boat. At that time, he had a flute.
He could hear it.
Yet,
Okay.
Villamangalam Swamiyar has got the power to see the gods.
Wow.
So, Villamangalam Swamiyar says to Champakasheri Raja, presence of God is here. So, you should construct a temple to worship him.
Okay.
At that time, Champakasheri Raja constructed the temple and he has prepared the idol for the temple. The priest he has suggested is Kadiyakol Nambudiri from Kottayam.
Okay.
But the priest of Ambalapura, Uduvana Tirumeni, he argued that the idol is not fit for consecration. There is something wrong in the construction of the idol.
Okay.
And the Raja is in a
Dilemma.
So he sent his minister to other places to brought another idol
Okay.
to consecration.
Consecrate.
The Raja went to Changanaseri, Kuruchi, and he saw a good idol there.
Okay.
He approached the owner of the temple, and the owner of the temple agreed to come with him
Okay.
with the idol to their erection here. At that time, they come from Kuruchi and bring the idol and install here.
Okay.
In memory of that, the communal harmony, the Champakolam Moolam boat race is celebrated every year.
I see. Okay. And this is the long boats that is usually there during Onam.
Snake boat. The main offering of the temple is Palpayasam.
Of course. Prasadams are just being offered to the Lord from one side and they're bringing it out after it's being presented to him. People are just queuing up here. There are at least hundreds of them here. And these cauldrons are brimming with payasam. I can get the waft of the flavors. Oh my god, this is, I mean, it has sugar, yes, but the color is just gorgeous, light pink in color. That's because of the rice that they have used. Normally, prasadam that is offered to devotees after any worship is usually in the palm, like, you know, a little bit that you can have it into your mouth. But here, these are at least a liter. Minimum is a liter. As they're even like pouring this into these plastic tubs.